This April, 12 hermits will stop at nothing to achieve everything. My name is Pixel Riffs, and this is the Hardcore Hermits recap.
Should we do a little recap, a little summary?
Could do.
4 teams entered the first week of Hardcore Hermits with a gleam in their eyes and a spring in their step, and as we go into the second week, only 3 battle-scarred and trophy-laden teams remain. The NHO went down in episode 3, and they sure did go down swinging, but the Phantoms prevailed and eliminated them from the competition.
No way, Doc!
No!
What? We're out! It's over?
Team Ugly Sweater also suffered the loss of Wells Knight, who met the fate of so many hardcore players before him.
Oh no!
But Biffa and Ijevin continue into week 2. We suspect Biffa might still be reeling from the shockwaves though, because his episodes have been released kind of out of sequence, a bit like the Star Wars films or a Quentin Tarantino movie. So if you're rooting for the wedding-suited one and want to watch his videos in the right order, go straight to episode 7 after you finished watching episode 4 and go backwards from there. Oh, and since Ijevin's footage from their first recording session got corrupted, Biffa's episode 7 is Ijevin's episode 2. Confused? So are we! But this recap will attempt to straighten out the order in which things happened, whilst also recapping the shenanigans of Team Zit, the only team in the competition who are playing with natural health regeneration turned off, and Team GFX, who were last seen going into the Nether and pulling into the lead. Once again, we're going to break this down episode by episode, so be warned, there are spoilers ahead. Without further ado, let's crack into episode 4.
Come on! I'm down to play.
Team GFX may be on top of the pile for now and geared up with enchantments, but they're in the Nether now, so they'd better tread carefully. So naturally, Azuma starts smack-talking every ghast he comes across.
Oh,
Is
there's
there
one
another
behind
one?
you! Behind you!
Yeah, Zuma,
Get
get
to
back.
safety!
His early attempts at playing ghast baseball strike out, but hopefully he'll get the chance to hit a home run later. Luckily, he isn't the only one who came here to poke the Nether mobs, because False gets straight to work hunting down a nearby blaze and passing the blaze rod around to her teammates for some easy points. Wither skeletons come out to play too, and all of them are dispatched without too much fuss, although none of them are kind enough to decapitate themselves for the team's benefit, so no Wither boss fight yet then. Not to be outdone, they go for an advancement which none of the other teams seem to have considered yet, the Subspace Bubble Challenge advancement, which requires players to use the Nether to travel the equivalent of 7,000 blocks in the Overworld, although Azuma can't go 100 blocks without trolling Scar about that one time he thought he could take a nap in hell.
You sleep in the bed and get the advancement for that one.
Right,
I
go
left
for it,
the
Scar.
bed back in the
Do it.
overworld.
Oh, don't wait.
I've
don't-
got some more right here. You can craft the bed, Scar.
In their parallel dimension, Team Zit starts mining for diamonds
Pokey for 5 minutes. Diamonds!
I felt-
Done!
and immediately finishes mining for diamonds.
Oh my god, as we said that, I just uncovered diamonds.
Very
See,
nice.
You gotta believe,
Very
man.
nice.
You gotta believe.
With the opportunity to make both a nether portal and an enchantment table, they can do some serious catching up, although Impulse isn't going to mine any more obsidian than he has to.
We are gonna cheap the corners. I don't care what Etho
Oh yeah,
says.
Etho's not here to stop us.
After they score themselves some decent enchantments on their tools and armor, they set up a portal and arrive in the Nether, although with the lack of health regen on their minds, they're a lot more cautious about exploring than the other teams.
Ghast! Ghast!
Ghast.
Get out of there!
Even when they spot a fortress in record time,
Fortress!
the Wither skeleton outside is an obstacle they'll need to overcome the smart way.
Eat gravel!
Gravel in
Bone
the
face!
The remaining 2/3 of Team Ugly Sweater cast their eye over the advancements and lay out what they need to do next.
We could have looked at the seed beforehand. I don't know.
That sounds like something an X would do.
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking. I don't know how much planning he did, but
And with the trip to the Nether being inevitable, Ijevin searches around for some lava and Biffa takes the opportunity to dance with wolves.
I'm the wolf whisperer.
We also get the Hardcore Hermits recap, but with baby llamas.
Oh, baby llama.
With a portal assembled, buckets made, and caution thrown to the wind, they're ready to leave the wolves behind and follow the other teams into the Nether. With the overworld now completely abandoned, the teams need to go deeper, and that's what episode 5 is for. Reality finally catches up with Team Zit, and they start episode 5 with the knowledge that it isn't meant to be an ultra-hardcore competition, but considering they are good sports and totally up for the challenge, they decide to go the distance with health regeneration disabled.
We're sticking to it, so we're not changing. We're
Yeah.
sticking to no regen. We're doing it the tough way.
That's right. Uh-huh.
Yeah, because we're hardcore.
The absolute madmen. At least this means when Zedaf wanders too close to a blaze spawner and whirling fiery chaos descends, they only have themselves to blame.
It was nice and turned off, and there was no blaze in there, and now there's blaze in there, and they want to kill my face. I apologize.
Luckily, Impulse has experience with spawn management on his resume, and while he digs underneath it to create a safety platform for blazes to drift down onto, Zedaf explores the fortress for loot and netherwort, while Tango heads off in search of glowstone to make their potables more potent. Tango's lucky streak continues when his wish for diamonds is once again granted by a chest,
I could really go for some diamonds in one of these chests here.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
Oh, 3 diamonds!
and a very cautious wither skeleton kill yields the ultimate reward.
I have
Oh,
aggressive-
skull!
Nice!
Holy crap! Holy crap! No, pick it up before something burns my face.
Returning to help Impulse with the blaze farm, they eventually snag a couple of blaze rods and book it for the overworld, getting away with only minor burns and the supplies they need to get healing potions. If it wasn't clear before that all 3 teams are using the same world seed, the Nether really drives it home, since each team sets up their portal somewhere near where they originally spawned, and they all end up visiting the same Nether fortress. You know, this one.
Look up.
Jevin and Biffa get to work exploring their carbon copy fortress, taking a more gung-ho look we have health regen approach to the blaze spawners and letting their shields take the worst of the fireballs. With a blaze rod retrieved, Biffa follows Azuma's example and tries to play some ghast ball, but gets just as unlucky.
Oh, he flipping despawned.
What? Oh my god.
With the early Nether objectives fulfilled, they retreat to the safety of the Overworld, but the Overworld can be just as dangerous as the Nether. Good thing they need to go back there then, because they soon realise it takes more than one blaze rod to brew a potion.
Oh my god, we failed.
We need another blaze, don't we?
We failed.
Meanwhile, Team GFX continues their odyssey through the Nether for that subspace bubble advancement, entertaining themselves with a spot of ghast tennis and continuing to spook Scar until he falls off things.
I just jumped. I wasn't even gonna.
I don't know why you jumped. I don't even.
Because the lava was coming.
Eventually, after some hasty mathematics, they pop down another portal back to the Overworld and the journey pays off, emerging from the warp zone onto a distant island. At night, surrounded by zombies. Realising the odds are against them, they take to the ocean in boats and manage to avoid the tridents being hurled at them by the drowned, settling on another unoccupied island and quickly transforming it into a netherrack fort so they can brew potions and wait for daylight. With episode 5 concluded and the scoreboard updated, the teams catch their breath in the overworld before diving back into episode 6.
Okay, here he comes. He spotted me. Let's see how this goes.
And Biffa dives back into the Nether on behalf of Team Ugly Sweater, determined to grab another blaze rod and say farewell to the Nether until they've got some more peaceful advancements taken care of. The Wither Skeletons are less generous at parting with their heads, but at least Biffa gets the potion fuel he needs.
Okay, well, he's hit me.
Oh god, run.
Back in the overworld, Ijevin takes stock of their supplies and scouts the village for willing traders, and once Biffa returns, they make do with brewing awkward potions for the advancement.
Oh, there we go.
After hunting down some pigs for a pork chop trade, they go mining for diamonds and settle in for an epic contest, seeing who can wear down a diamond hoe the fastest. We'll save that one for next time, although Biffa released it as episode 5, so you might already know who wins. In the morning light, with zombies burning all around them, Team GFX discovers that they didn't bring a second blaze rod with them either. But that's okay, because apparently you can get the local brewery advancement by just taking a plain water bottle back out of a brewing stand, and then presumably you sell it as mineral water.
Take them.
Oh, cheaty hacks.
Nice.
Oh, there
Amazing.
we go.
We knew that all along. We're just pros,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
With the jungle around them getting worryingly laggy and lacking in parrots, they return to the boats and set sail for anything that isn't a jungle. But they aren't the first, as they stumble across a few shipwrecks on the way, one of which gives False the supplies she needs to breathe some sheep. She returns to the boats to find a turtle has given itself a shell update.
The turtle in my boat.
Smack it in the face.
Rude. He's coming with
there
us.
you are.
Finally coming across a desert ideal for farming Endermen at night, Azuma calls for them to make land and starts building a safety platform while False explores the nearby savannah. Team Zit gets back to the overworld and back to business.
You guys keep your eye open for pumpkins, right?
Tango is either thinking about iron golems next, or he's getting paranoid about the local vegetables. Either way, they can be a little less paranoid now they're able to brew up on health potions. Fresh from the horrors of the Nether, they let off some steam by starting a petting zoo, first by breeding sheep and then taming the local wolves. And while Zedaf might know if sheep are looking at you, it seems like he doesn't know if he's looking at them.
What do you mean there's 3 sheep? Oh, there we
You
go.
just breed them together.
Except the 3 sheep. There you go.
Yay!
All right.
And that's it for this week. Somehow, all 8 remaining participants emerged from the Nether alive and well. Here are the scores as they currently stand, and don't forget to tune in next week as we recap episodes 7 through 9, if the teams can stay alive until then. This Hardcore Hermits recap has been a production of the unofficial Hermitcraft recap, written and edited by me, Pixel Riffs, with script supervision by ZloyXP. Don't forget to leave a like on this video, tune in on Sunday for the Hermitcraft recap, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss future episodes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.